Hi, everyone at 361 Firm. This is Brian Johnson Ngan speaking. I'm from Cedar Side Holdings. I'm the Chief Investment Officer. Now, we're a long short global equity fund doing thematic investments in the US, in China, in Hong Kong, in Japan, and Europe. So, what do I think will happen in 20 years' time by 2040? I think that the world will look very different by then, clearly. Not only will I have more gray hair, but at that time, electric vehicles will be the dominant mode of transport and displacing internal combustion engines that we see on the roads today. I think that battery technology is going to be a huge enabler on that front. And that the ability to store energy will not only be relevant on the transportation mobility space, it will also change the way we treat renewable energy in the solar space and wind. And an even bigger trend will be hydrogen moving forward. But that is going to happen in the next maybe perhaps 5 to 8 years before it reaches a level of scale and maturity. One thing that concerns me is the high level of debt, though, that was being taken on in the balance sheet for many of the countries. And as we've seen in the COVID crisis, that level of debt is just moving north higher and higher. And the high debt levels would be very concerning moving forward, in that it begs the question, who is going to service and pay that debt? And is it going to pass on this generational burden on the future generations and children to take on that burden moving forward? So that is a concern. And another thing that is on my mind really is also on the fintech and payments. I think that payments and fintech is an exciting space, and digital has just accelerated by 3 to 5 years at the very least because of COVID-19. And moving forward, blockchain will also change the equation. Nowadays we're used to sending money here and there using Swift and using the international system to transfer payments, but we do pay a very hefty fee for that. But moving forward, blockchain technology is going to unlock a lot of value transfer across borders without the necessary friction costs that you would be incurring today. Another trend that excites me also is the rise really of decentralized finance. Decentralized finance, or DeFi as we call it, is being able to do financial services across borders and also have interest earning asset classes that are non-fiat or non-regular dollar terminology or non-regular dollar terms. So decentralized finance, I think using crypto as a vehicle is going to be a huge trend moving forward, and especially for countries where their currencies are devaluing in a high rate, this would become more relevant to them, and this will become a very commonplace term in the next 3 to 5 years. It's very exciting to think that 2040 is still 19 years away, but I do think that by the time we get there, a lot of the things that we're saying right now is going to be not only relevant but commonplace, and also in the regular parlance, in the same way that perhaps saying internet back in the 1980s would have been very esoteric, but very commonplace now that we know in our current day and age. So very exciting to see how this conference plays out, and very exciting to see what the new trends moving forward, and if our bets pay off within the next 2, 3, 5, or maybe even 20 years.